Live from the Big G's Pizza Studio on Clark Street, this is 5 Songs with Friends, Chicago's music discovery podcast. TALL is an electronic musician from Los Angeles, California. I have Derek, the man behind TALL, here today. Derek, what's going on, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome, dude. I'm really excited to have you. So tell me about this electronic music. How did you get started making electronic music?
Probably when I was a teenager, I started doing hip hop music. Actually, a little background even before that. I grew up playing piano and then saxophone until high school, and I got some music. I was in march band actually one year, and someone asked a rapper at school asked me if I could do some stuff, and I got a program. I think it was called Magic Studios. It was like a long time ago. I think it was like $20 at Target or something. And so I made little beats from that and got addicted to that. And then went to college and started discovering about electronic dance music and just started diving into that deep world and all that stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, that's something interesting I want to talk about because, like, two things there. Number one, you were able to. It sounds like you started this music on like a shoestring. Like, didn't take a lot of money or any effort, or obviously it took effort, but it didn't take like a lot of capital or anything like that. You just started this stuff, and then you just had the confidence to start releasing it. Like, can you kind of walk me through that process? Because I have a lot of friends that make awesome music but are too shy to release it. Like, what was going through your head when you were, about to put your first music out there?
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time to be able to release it. Like, think something I thought was worth it. I sometimes go back and listen to the stuff I did like 10, 15 years ago, especially the hip hop stuff. I didn't even use MIDI. It's just like using a keyboard with crappy drums and just playing that into the DAW, and it's so out of time. And now with all the technology, it's awesome. But I took 8 years and before I started this new project, TALL, I did a project called Magic Machines. That's more of a disco French house kind of influence. I would say that's the first ones where I really started releasing stuff on Soundcloud and YouTube and other stuff like that. And it takes a long time. People always think, and I thought the same thing when I was young too. Like you learn it, and then like a year later, you're like perfect. But it takes a long time. And like a lot of these artists, I think people are able to do it younger nowadays because the technology is there. So they're starting at 9 or 10. And so by the time they're 18, 19, they've mastered it. And so I think a lot of people, there's not really a right answer to when to release. And like, so to your friends, I would just say when you feel comfortable, like something that you can listen to over and over yourself and feel proud of it, that's when you know to release it. So.
Gotcha. Interesting. Is there any like advice you would give to someone who's maybe on the fence right now? You know, they have a couple of tracks that they've made and they're, hesitant to publish it. Is there any advice or piece of, any wise words you would bestow upon them?
I mean, kind of what I just said, like if you're listening to it every day for like 20 times in a row and you're like, it's really getting me, you should be able to do it. Another one too is I really have a good circle of friends that are either musicians or just good friends of mine. I can send them the demo version or where it's going, and I usually can gauge off them if it's something that's pretty good too. So there's always that too.
Nice. Would you say making music has gotten a lot easier over time with all of the tools, or is it like kind of overwhelming now because there's so many different things you can add to the mix?
For me, it's gotten way easier, but as someone that's starting off, I can see how it's totally overwhelming. I always suffer from this, but like when there's too many choices, you have to research everything, and you always feel like you have to do the right choice. And so I can see how someone starting off would be terrible. I kind of just went with what I could afford, and then with all the new recording programs and plugins, and all of a sudden I kind of grew that. And so I kind of had that to go off of. But someone that's starting off with stuff, I think everything is good now though. So like there's no wrong answer to where to go and start off with all that stuff.
Nice. So as a solo artist, in today's like globalized world, and, especially with SoundCloud, like you can get, music from literally any corner of the world, out to the masses. Have you had any, collaborations or opportunities to collaborate that you're, particularly proud of or excited about?
The song that we're going to play on here is with someone that I know from LA. It's a pretty funny story. He's more of a guitarist, but I just got him to sing some words, and I edited it and put some auto-tune on it and some effects, and got a song. But yeah, collabing it's tough because there's so many people now that it's good. It's even a bad thing. It's just there's so many people that you can reach out to, but it's also a lot of people are just busy. So
yeah, makes sense. Well, you want to go ahead? You kind of teased it a little bit, but let's jump into it. Do you want to introduce the song today that we have called "The End"?
Yeah. So originally I did this in my other project called Magic Machines, "The End." I believe I released it in 2013, so a while ago, and I just kind of thought that song was always, it had something, it was really good, and so I kind of did more of an updated version, especially with more stuff, with more styles I've been playing and stuff, and so I edited it to make it a little bit more of a chill wave, synthwave kind of take on that song. So I released it this year. So
awesome. Well, let's jump into it. This is a song called "The End" by TALL.
I really wanna see you.
That was The End by TALL. So what are some of the big influences that you've had that kind of influence, the sound that is TALL today?
I mean, it probably goes all the way back when I started. First things that really got me into electronic music was like Daft Punk and Chemical Brothers and all those kind of old school ones. And then also in, 2005, 2006, all of the French electronic artists like Justice and all that wave. That like blew me off. Like that opened up a whole new world. Like, I don't know, it's just made me realize how awesome that whole world was. And so I would say lately though, it's more of like a chill, like feature bass and stuff that's like lower tempo, and some artists like Washed Out and stuff like that just really got to me because especially being in California, there's kind of like a cool chill vibe here, and definitely influences me to do more laid back beats here. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, did you? I know this is going to sound like probably a pretty played out question, but like, did you ever in like around 2010, that time period when dubstep was popping off, did you ever dabble in any of that type of music, or was it not interesting at all?
I think for like an hour maybe I tried. I I love dubstep, like Skrillex and all that stuff. I love it. I think I just tried and it was too much of a learning thing, and it didn't. I think I loved listening to it, but I didn't really like making it, so it was cut short really quick. But
gotcha. Interesting stuff, man.
There's definitely some influence though, because like dubstep is slowed down basically. French house is like 120, 130 beats per minute, and dubstep will slow that down. So even though it's still knocking, it slowed down, and it kind of opened up this whole new wave of electronic, I think. So.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just so shocking. It was like there was nothing that I had ever really heard quite like it. It just like was a massive shock to everyone's system for like 2 or 3 years there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Is there anyone, any other electronic artists or just artists in general out there in LA that are a little bit underground that maybe you want to give a quick shout out to, or think people should hear about?
There's this one artist I just discovered a couple of weeks ago. His name is Goth Babe, actually. And
what is it, Goth Babe?
Yeah, Goth Babe. Like he started off as more of like a Ty Segall and like that kind of music, but he's become more. He started putting beats on it, and it's very chill way, very like West Coast things, and then he sings on it. So he's using his singer songwriting with his beats, and I've been loving it. You should check it out. Yeah, he's been my number one lately.
Nice. Awesome stuff, man. Well, so how can people stay in touch with you, keep up to date on releases or any upcoming shows or anything like that you have? Yeah, I mean, I have an EP out on Spotify and Apple Music and all that good stuff. You can go on my Instagram. It's instagram.com/TALLmusic, TALL with 3 L's. And yeah, SoundCloud, you can type in TALL. I think it's soundcloud.com/TALLmusic too, I think. So. Awesome. By the way, I didn't ask, but where does the name TALL come from? So I'm a tall guy, so I always wanted like a name that was just one word. I don't know why I get like I always like was obsessed with bands that had like one name, and there's just so many band names taken, and I was like, oh well, no. I just randomly Googled TALL for bands and stuff. There was nothing. So if you're curious, I'm 6'5", so. Oh, nice. In the music, in the music world, you like notice that a lot when you play shows. I don't know why. I think 90% of musicians are on the shorter side. But God, well, so I got to ask, man, does it get annoying when people ask you if you play basketball? Oh yeah, I mean I do. I played all in high school, yeah. So, but that is probably the number one question. Right. Oh gosh. Well, it's like with my name's DJ, so people are always like, "Oh, DJ, are you a DJ?" It's like, no, that's just my name. And so I was unfortunate timing. So for you, you got the height. At least the height's a good thing, right? I mean, if you put things up on shelves, like you're the first guy. Like, yep. You don't have to worry about having step stools. So that's great. Yeah. Well. There's actually a good amount. Like, there's like a small percentage of musicians. I know, like Pretty Lights is pretty tall, if I remember right. And there's some out there. It's weird. There's no like in between. They're either like on the shorter side or like pretty tall like me. But wait, how tall is tallest man on earth? Is he even tall? Or is that just a play on words? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I don't know actually. Well, there's your research project for everyone listening to this. Go figure out how tall tallest man on earth is and DM me so I can know, because we don't want to look it up. Awesome, man. Derek, thanks so much for coming on the show, dude.